Every yard, every hit, every second. It's earned out here. This game demands more than just skill. It demands fuel. The right fuel. Cause out here it's not just about how hard you work. It's about how long you keep going. When the game gets real, drink bottle still.
Welcome into the last but not least OUA season preview for 2025. This one is for the McMaster Marauders. Unable to get a player coach from McMaster to join us due to camp schedules, the whole 9 yards, but we will push on nonetheless. Connor, welcome in, welcome back. We get to talk about the MAC team that is up and coming this year and going to look a little different than years gone by. Obviously, the number one headline, Keegan Hall, grad transfer out to the York Lions. So that was, I don't know, almost 3/4 of their offense last year was Keegan's contributions. That is a massive hole to fill. I think they're going to try to do it with Luke Thalman, who was on the roster last year for the Marauders. But we will see how he fares getting all of the snaps this upcoming week.
Yeah, man, you hit the nail on the head there. I think that is one of the biggest moves of the offseason in the OUA. And this team is going to look a little different. McMaster last year was the second best passing offense in all of the OUA, averaging 314 yards per game. Obviously, that was off the arm of Keegan Hall. Now he's moved on as a grad transfer to the York Lions. This is going to be an exciting one where McMaster gets to open this season against Keegan Hall and those York Lions. So I guess from me to you, as we're talking about Keegan Hall, as we're talking about the past game here, what are you looking forward to before we get into the weeds of the McMaster Marauders team this year? What are you looking forward to in that week one matchup?
Really looking forward to see how Mac's aggressive early in this season. And we've talked about McMaster the last couple years where they haven't really had the chance to reach the pinnacle and the goals that they set out for themselves. And I think that is going to fold over into really having some kind of urgency early on this season where they're playing really aggressive. They're going for it on third down. They're taking chances, deep shots. I fully expect them to take advantage of that aggression and emotion and really push early on the season, not just in week one, but in the first half of the season as a whole.
I agree. I agree. I'm looking forward to seeing how aggressive they're going to be through the air. But the one thing, Wade, that I really want to look at is, are they going to be able to find some balance? We know that Coach P loves to throw the ball. We know that a lot of their identity is through the air. But last year, when we're looking at the 2024 season, 2024-2025 season, McMaster was third last in the league in rushing yards per game. And we know in order to be successful in the OUA, you have to find some semblance of a ground attack. You have to be able to run the football. And that has been proven with the Westerns, with the Lauriers, with the Queens in years past, with the Guelphs upcoming. So, how do you envision McMaster retooling their ground attack? Because I think for me, and correct me if I'm wrong or if you disagree here, but I think that is something that they're going to have to find heading into 2025, 2026.
I agree with you. And Connor, I think sometimes when you have that veteran quarterback who's as talented as Keegan is on your roster like they did last year, you almost just kind of default to your run game being quick throws, quick game, screen game, and kind of expanding a defense horizontally. Whereas now with a young quarterback in Thalman, you are really going to be focused on hitting the ball vertically, getting yards where you can to put him in good situations and make it easier on a guy who is not as experienced as his predecessor. I could see them doing that with a lot of zone game. They've traditionally gone with a lot of heavy zone schemes, whereas like a Western is just so gap reliant, not really reliant, but utilizes it so much more. So Mac's going to try to use his zone scheme, I'm guessing, to really get these guys on the edge. They use Thalman as a threat in the run game as well. I mean, he didn't contribute much offensively last year, but had almost as many rushing yards as he did passing yards. So when you're looking at that, like by the nature of the law, that would be dual threat. I know that he's not going to run for 800 if he throws for 800, but he certainly can move and has shown that ability. So uh, I think that's probably going to be the number one is get vertical disruption in the zone game, hit it quick, use the quarterback to kind of balance out numbers in the box, and see where you can put your team in positive situations.
We're talking about getting vertical. We're talking about threatening through the air. And we know that typically has the playmakers to make this happen. Obviously, a guy that we talk about lots is Jackson Cooling. He's a phenomenal wide receiver. He's a phenomenal special teams player. Let's flip sides of the ball here, though, because the departure of Brady, what does that mean to this team?
You know what? It's a huge loss to lose a coordinator, especially when he goes back out to almost where he came from, right out east, where he's certainly going to make a difference with Mount Allison, but in the hire of Adam Grandy as DC now, it's a guy who was Mac born and raised, right? He played at Mac and then has gone on to coach with Western and Guelph and be a coordinator at various universities in the OUA. I think he brings a ton of experience. I think he brings a ton of knowledge. And I think he, much like Coach P, comes from a place of McMaster needs to get back to the top by doing X, by doing Y. And it's going to be interesting to see him kind of rebuild this roster on defensively. When you lose a guy like Demetrius Masuka, that's a big name to lose out on. Uh, they have such a good balance of local recruiting in Hamilton that there's going to be playmakers there. But having that experienced coach and not really going to someone that's a green hire where they haven't really had many coordinator jobs or it hasn't really gone well for them. Grandy has had success in a bunch of different spots, and he's been with Western the last couple of years in a special teams role. But Connor, he's been in that winning environment. He knows what it looks like to get to that pinnacle. I think this McMaster defense is going to play fast, but I'm expecting them to have a couple bumps early on. Like there's no way that you can rep that much to just kind of have yourself in a new scenario, in a new defense against a team like York that's not really shown much offensively on tape of what this new offense is going to look like with Keegan Hall. There's going to be a couple plays that you go, really? But there's going to be some plays where you go, okay, there's a McMaster defense that hits hard, is assignment sound, and takes the ball away.
And one of the biggest things we're talking about the McMaster defense here, and one of the most interesting things I think I noticed as we move into the 2025 season here with the 2024-2025 Marauders is they were darn aggressive at the line of scrimmage last year. They were the third best team in getting to the quarterback with 20 or so sacks last year. But on the flip side of that coin, they allowed almost 30 points a game, 29.8 points per game. It was the fourth most in the entirety of the OUA. So how do you improve, how do you maintain the aggressiveness in getting after the quarterback and being able to generate these opportunities to get after the quarterback and put the other team in terrible field position, but limit the damage, because they did give up a lot of points per game last year?
I think that's just, staying true to yourself. And when you get the big plays, don't overreact. And when you get those big chunk plays, controversially, like, don't panic. Okay, stay true to who you are. Trust your system. Trust that your coaches have so much experience. They're going to know what to do in these upcoming games and scenarios that you're going to see. So for McMaster, I'm really expecting a younger team, but a hungry team that's well coached. And I think they're going to be able to put up a good fight with some people. But at the same time, they're going to have those young team, learning opportunities, we'll call them.
I agree. And as a whole, with these McMaster Marauders, just before we kind of close out this episode, they go into week one. We talked about it off the top of the episode. We're both very excited for it, but they're going into week one at York, playing their former quarterback. That's the headline. But what are you excited for in this game?
I think just seeing a Mac team that has some life, some pep in their step, some aggression, because it felt like last year, they played Laurier week one, and then they just kind of like stumbled through and then tried to make a run at the end. I'm excited to see the fire and the energy that they played Laurier with in week 1 last year come out again this year.
I agree. I agree. And Wade, I think with that, we can close out the McMaster preview, the OUA season previews. This was a lot of fun to do. We thank everybody that was able to be involved in this. We thank the OUA for having us back this season to do this. We love Ontario University football with all of our hearts. We played in it, we watched it growing up. So it's a privilege to be here. It's an honor to be in front of everybody on this camera and to just talk about something that we love, because we'd try to be doing this regardless. We'd be texting about it in some way, shape, or form. We love Ontario University football. We love all you for watching us. So thank you so much for allowing us to be back here, for allowing us to do this. Let's rock. Let's get to the regular season. Let's go play some darn football.